My first night with the enemy, I was forced to share his bed. My name is Valentina. Our families have harbored a deep-seated hatred for generations, but a sudden violent snowstorm trapped us together in a remote cabin. There was only one blanket. I am 23 years old and live in a small town nestled high in the mountains. It is a breathtaking place filled with towering green trees, quaint houses, and crisp, fresh air. But beneath the beauty, my town has a problem. It is consumed by old anger. My family name is Rossi, and we have lived here for as long as anyone can remember. His family name is Conti. They too have been here for generations. My father hates his father, and his father hates mine. To be honest, I don't truly know why. The feud began long before I was born. Perhaps they fought over land or money. The truth has been lost to time. No one knows the facts anymore, but the hatred remains very real. I grew up steeped in this resentment. When I was a little girl, my mother would look at me with solemn eyes and warn, "Valentina, do not speak to the Conti family. Do not even look at them. They are bad, dangerous people." Being a good daughter, I listened. I believed her. I stayed away. Then there was Leo Conti. He is the son of my father's sworn enemy and is exactly my age. We attended the same school and sat in the same classrooms. I saw him every single day, yet we never spoke, not once. Occasionally our eyes would meet, but those looks were never friendly. They were cold and bitter. I believed the stories. I thought he was cruel. That is what happens when you are young. We believe our parents, learn to hate without question, and follow the rules because it is easy to be angry from a distance. Perhaps you know this feeling. Perhaps you have judged someone before truly knowing them. Last winter, everything changed. It was December and the mountain chill was biting. My family owns a small cabin high above the town, a quiet sanctuary we usually only use in the summer. One morning, my father approached me. "Valentina," he said, "a heavy snow is coming. Go to the cabin today, check the roof and the windows. Make sure everything is secure for the winter." I nodded. I enjoyed going to the cabin because I cherished the solitude. I work hard in town helping my family, and sometimes my mind grows weary. I needed the peace. After packing a small bag and donning my warmest coat and boots, I drove up the long, empty mountain road. The sky was a leaden gray, and the air was freezing, but I felt free. I rolled down the window slightly, breathing in the scent of the forest and listening to the silence. An hour later, I arrived. The cabin is a simple structure of dark wood with a single door and two small windows. Inside, there is just one room containing a fireplace, a small table, a chair, and a narrow bed in the corner. It was colder inside than out. I set to work immediately, checking the windows and the roof. Everything was in perfect order. I planned to stay for an hour to clean the floor and enjoy a hot cup of tea before driving home. But the weather had other plans. It changed with terrifying speed. Looking out the window, I saw the sky turn from gray to a bruised black. Dark clouds swallowed the mountain and a howling, angry wind began to batter the walls. Then the snow arrived. Not a light dusting, but a massive, blinding storm. The world outside turned a chaotic white. I could no longer see the trees or even my car. Fear knotted in my stomach. I ran to the door, but the wind shoved me back, the snow hitting my face like jagged rocks. I struggled to my car, my boots sinking deep into the drifts. I climbed inside and turned the key. Click, click, click. Silence. The engine wouldn't turn over. The battery was dead, killed by the plummeting temperature. Panic surged through me. I struck the steering wheel in frustration. "No, no, no!" I cried out. I looked toward the road, but it had vanished under the snow. The town was 20 miles away. If I tried to walk, I would freeze to death. I was trapped. I retreated to the cabin, slammed the door shut, and locked it. My heart was hammering against my ribs. Boom, boom, boom. I pulled out my phone. No signal. 0 bars. I pulled out my key. I couldn't call my parents or the police. I was utterly alone. "Valentina," I whispered to the empty room. "Be calm. You are strong. You are smart. You just have to wait." The storm will break tomorrow. Staying warm was my only priority. I found a small pile of dry wood and some old paper near the fireplace. With a single match, I coaxed a fire to life. As the yellow flames grew and the wood began to crackle, I sat on the floor holding my hands toward the warmth. I felt a flicker of safety. I had a fire. I just had to wait. An hour passed and the storm grew more violent. The wind howled like a wild animal, making the cabin shudder. Then I heard it, a sound that wasn't the wind or the fire. Nogoi. Noig. My breath hitched. I froze. Who could possibly be on the mountain in this weather? It was impossible. The knock came again, louder this time. I stood up on trembling legs and approached the door. "Who is it?" I shouted, my voice shaking. "Please," a man's voice answered, sounding weak and desperate. "Let me in. My car is stuck. I'm freezing. Please." I knew that voice. I closed my eyes as a wave of nausea hit me. I had heard that voice in the hallways of our school for years. It was Leo Conti, my enemy. What was he doing here? Then I remembered. The Conti family owned land nearby, including an old barn on the other side of the hill. Perhaps his father had sent him on a similar errand. He was standing right outside my door. My mind raced. I remembered my mother's warnings. They're bad people. My father would have told me to leave him there to freeze. But I am a Rossi, not a killer. I am a human being with a heart. I could not let a man die in the snow, even if he was a Conti, even if I was supposed to hate him. With shaking hands, I turned the lock. The wind violently forced the door open, spraying snow into the room. Leo collapsed onto the floor, covered in white from head to toe. His face was pallid, his lips a dark shade of blue, and his teeth chattered so loudly it filled the room. He lifted his head and saw me. His brown eyes widened in shock. "Valentina," he whispered. "Leo," I replied coldly. We stared at each other as the wind roared. I grabbed the door, pulled it shut with all my strength, and locked it. The sudden silence was heavy. We were trapped together in one small room. Leo struggled to his feet, shivering violently. He looked at the fire, then back at me. "Thank you," he said quietly. I was going to die. I didn't smile. I stood tall, my eyes hard. "Sit by the fire," I commanded, my voice like ice. "Do not touch my things. Do not talk to me." He understood. He walked to the fireplace and sat, holding his hands to the flames. Water dripped from his hair and coat, forming a puddle on the floor. I sat on the wooden chair on the opposite side of the room, arms crossed, watching him. I expected him to be mean or move aggressively, but he did nothing. He just sat there looking tired and frightened. He didn't look like a monster. He looked like a person. This confused me. It is easy to hate a monster. It is much harder to hate a freezing man. As evening turned to night, the storm only intensified. The cabin was too small for us to hide from one another. The silence was a thick wall between us, broken only by the popping of the fire and the cry of the wind. "The storm is very bad," Leo said suddenly. I jumped. He was staring at the flames, not at me. I didn't want to talk, but the silence was becoming unbearable. "Yes," I replied shortly. "It is." He explained softly that his car had hit a rock, breaking a tire. He had tried to walk to his family's barn but lost the path in the whiteout. "Then I smelled the smoke from your chimney," he said. "I didn't know it was your cabin." I listened, feeling a pang of empathy that I quickly tried to suppress. "You're lucky," I said. "You could have frozen." "I know," he said, finally meeting my eyes. His gaze was soft and kind. "I owe you my life, Valentina. Thank you." I looked away. I didn't like his kindness. It messed up the rules. Enemies are supposed to be cruel. "Just stay on your side," I muttered. When night fully fell, the cabin was pitch black, save for the fire and a single candle I had found. Then I noticed a dire problem. The woodpile was almost gone. Only 3 pieces remained. I hadn't planned for an overnight stay. We have a problem, I said. The wood is almost gone. Leo looked at the small pile and frowned. Is there more? Yes, behind the cabin, but the storm. And Leo stood up immediately, still in his damp coat. I'll go. No, I argued. This is my cabin. I'll go. Valentina, no, he said firmly. The wind is incredibly strong and it's pitch black. I'm stronger. I'll go. I was angry. I didn't want his help or his orders. I said I'll do it, I yelled. We stared each other down. Our first fight, not about our families, but about survival. Leo sighed, looking exhausted. Please, let me do this. You saved my life. If you get lost in the dark, I can't save you. I hated that he was right. I stepped back. Fine, go. He opened the door and the darkness swallowed him. 1 minute passed, 2, 3. The wind roared. My heart began to race. Where was he? It should only take a minute. What if he fell? What if he froze? I paced the room, biting my lip, and realized a strange truth. I was terrified for my enemy. I did not want him to die. I ran to the door, my hand on the lock, ready to go after him. Suddenly, the handle turned. The door burst open and Leo fell inside, clutching a massive pile of wood. He dropped it with a crash and fell to his knees, gasping for air. I slammed the door and knelt beside him, the hatred forgotten. Are you okay? I asked, my voice thick with fear. He tried to smile through chattering teeth. I got the wood. A wave of relief washed over me. You're an idiot, I said softly. You took too long. I thought you were dead. He gave a weak laugh. I couldn't find the pile in the dark. I had to feel along the wall. But we have wood now. We won't freeze. Thank you, I said, and I truly meant it. We fed the fire, but the cabin was old and the wind whistled through the cracks. It was getting colder. Leo was shivering worse than before. His jacket was soaked. Take off your jacket, I commanded. He looked confused. It's wet. The water is making you colder. Hang it near the fire. His hands were shaking so much he couldn't manage the zipper. I sighed, moved closer, and reached out. When my fingers brushed his skin was ice cold. I pulled the zipper down and helped him out of the heavy coat. Underneath, his wool sweater was dry. Thank you, he whispered. By midnight, we were both exhausted. But a final problem remained, the bed. It was a single mattress with only one thick wool blanket. Leo looked at me gently. You take the bed, you take the blanket. I'll sleep on the floor by the fire. I looked at the hard, cold floor. The fire would die down as we slept and the cold air would settle. He was already weakened. If he slept on the floor without a blanket, he might not wake up. I am a proud Rossi, and the thought of being close to a Conti made my stomach turn. But I am not a monster. I took a deep breath. No, I said. You can't sleep on the floor. You'll freeze. We must share. Leo looked shocked. Share the bed? With you? Do you want to die? I asked. No. Then we share the bed, we share the body heat. It's for survival, nothing else. It was the most awkward moment of my life. I kept my coat and boots on and climbed into the far left side of the bed, pressing my back against the cold wall. Leo climbed in on the right, balanced on the very edge. We lay there like stone statues, the space between us filled with freezing air. But slowly, human biology took over. Our body heat began to fill the space under the heavy wool. An hour passed. I stared at the ceiling, listening to the wind. Suddenly, a massive shiver racked my body. Are you okay? Leo whispered. I'm cold, I admitted, my teeth chattering. Me too. We lay in silence for a few more minutes. The cold was becoming unbearable. Valentina, Leo whispered again, why do we hate each other? It was a simple yet profound question. In the dark, it felt heavy. Our families, I said. They hate each other. I know they do, but why do we? I don't even know you, Valentina. You don't know me. It's stupid. He was right. My father told me your father stole money from his business, I said, feeling brave in the anonymity of the dark. And my father told me yours lied about property lines and stole our land, Leo replied. We were quiet, considering the stories. Maybe they both lied, Leo suggested. Maybe they're just stubborn, proud men who refuse to apologize. I smiled. My father is very stubborn. Leo laughed softly. Mine is the most stubborn man in the world. For the first time in 23 years, we actually talked. We talked about our lives. I told him I wanted to be a teacher. He told me he hated the family business and wanted to be a carpenter, to build beautiful things with his hands. We discovered we liked the same music and both hated spicy food but loved sweet apples. It was a beautiful, strange shock. We weren't different. We were exactly the same. We were just two young people carrying the weight of our parents' old anger. As the fire died to glowing coals, the room became an icebox. I curled into a ball, shivering violently. Valentina, Leo said seriously, the fire is gone. If we stay apart, we'll lose our heat. We need to come closer. Survival outweighed pride. Okay, I whispered. I moved to the middle and he did the same. When our arms touched, I felt a jolt. Not a bad one, but a surprising, warm shock. Turn around, he whispered. Face the wall. I'll block the cold air. I turned on my side and Leo moved close behind me, his front against my back. He draped his heavy arm over me and pulled the blanket tight. We were curled together like spoons. It was intimate and strange. My heart pounded. What would my father say? What would the town think? But then I felt the warmth. He was like a human radiator. The heat flowed from him into me and my shivering stopped. The space under the blanket became a safe, warm cave. I relaxed. I felt safe in the arms of my enemy. But he wasn't my enemy anymore. That person had died in the cold. This was just Leo, a good man who smelled of pine and snow. He fell asleep first, his breathing steady against my neck. I realized then that hate is a choice. You can carry it or you can choose to understand. I didn't want to be cold anymore. I wanted to be warm. I wanted to be free. When I woke, the cabin was flooded with bright morning light. The storm was over. Leo was still fast asleep, his arm heavy across my waist. He looked peaceful, not a Conti, not a Rossi, just a handsome young man. I didn't move. I just watched the sunlight and felt a deep connection in my chest. When he finally stirred and realized he was holding me, he gasped and pulled away, his cheeks flushing red. I'm so sorry, Valentina. I didn't mean to. I was asleep. I smiled at him, a genuine, bright smile. It's okay, Leo. You kept me warm. We survived. The worry left his face and he smiled back. In that moment, the wall was gone. The hate had shattered. We worked as a team. He found more wood. I made sweet tea on a camping stove. We sat close together, our shoulders touching, looking out at the snow that sparkled like diamonds. We have work to do, Leo said. We have to dig the cars out. Together, I agreed. We spent 3 hours shoveling. We sweated, we laughed, and we threw snowballs like children. We weren't enemies. We were friends. Perhaps in my heart I knew we were already more. When the cars were finally clear, it was time to return to reality, back to the town and our fighting families. We stood between our cars, the playfulness fading. What happens now? Leo asked seriously. When we go down there? I don't know what our fathers will do, I said. But I know one thing. I do not hate you, Leo. I will never hate you again. He dropped his shovel and took my hand. His grip was warm and rough. I don't hate you either. I want to see you again, even if it has to be in secret, by the river in the park. I don't care. I just want to see you. A happy tear escaped my eye. Okay. We drove down the mountain, Leo leading the way. When I got home, my father hugged me, but within minutes he was back to cursing the Conti family. I didn't listen. His words were just empty noise. I knew the truth now. Hate is a heavy, wet blanket that keeps you miserable and cold. Love and understanding are the true fire. I learned that lesson in a storm, sharing a bed with my enemy. We are all just people. We all get cold and we all need warmth. Do not let others tell you who to hate. Do not blindly follow the rules of the past. Open your heart. Talk to people. Sometimes the person you think is your enemy is exactly the person you need the most. Life is too short for the weight of hate. Choose love. Choose peace. Choose to be warm. Keep your heart open to the world. Keep going. You are doing great. A1-A2. Learn English by stories. We believe every story is an opportunity to learn and grow.